Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new live episode of Truth Be Told Minuteman Report. I'm Robert Hensley, your Truth Be Told Minuteman, coming to you live from an undisclosed location somewhere in North America. Today's episode is kind of a special episode. You know, March is Women's History Month, and it would be unconscionable to go the entire month without finding an amazing story about a woman. And so today we're going to talk about Rome. The Roman Empire was bested by a woman. The story of Amanirenas. And if you're not familiar with Amanirenas, we are going to rectify that here today. So without further ado, Amanirenas is a famous Nubian queen. She ruled over the kingdom of Kush, which is a land south of Egypt in what is now modern-day Sudan. And she ruled from 40 BC to 10 BC, so she ruled for approximately 30 years. And her full title was Amanirenas, Kor and Kandaki. And what that means is Amanirenas, king and queen, meaning that she actually ruled the country. So now why Amanirenas is famous, right, is because she led the Kushite armies against the Roman Empire in a war that lasted for 5 years, from 27 BC to 22 BC. After the death of Cleopatra, right, Egypt was now a Roman territory, part of the Roman Empire, and they had their sights set on conquering the land south of Egypt. They were going to take over Nubia, and there was a prefect, or kind of a chief magistrate in Egypt, who his name was Aelius Gallus, and he left Egypt to go on a campaign into Arabia in 24 BC, and Amanirenas and her Kushite army decided that they were going to do a preemptive strike, stop the Romans before they came any further south. And she led this campaign, and they defeated the Romans. They defeated the Roman forces at Syene and Philai. And in the process, she lost an eye, she lost her husband and her son, right? So she sacrificed a lot for the freedom of her people. Now, Kandaki, or queen, was kind of bastardized by a Greek historian named Strabo. He calls her Candace. And in his account of the Meroitic War against the Roman Empire, he wrote that a fierce, one-eyed Queen Candace captured a series of Roman forts in southern Egypt in 25 BC. Her army overturned statues of the Roman Emperor Caesar Augustus, and she returned to her kingdom with the decapitated bronze head of Augustus. And she symbolically had the head buried at the under the steps of a temple dedicated to victory in Meroe. And that head eventually was found. It was excavated in 1912 and resides now in the British Museum after being found by a British archaeological team. But the Kushites were eventually defeated. They were driven out of Cyrene later that same year by the newly appointed Roman prefect, Gaius Petronius. And Gaius Petronius pushed her army out, even though she and her army were still trying to seize a city known as Primus. So following all of this, right, Amanirenas enters into negotiation with the Romans. She sent mediators to Augustus, who was then in Samos in the year 20 BC, and they negotiated a successful peace treaty. Now, what's so important about this peace treaty is not only was it negotiated by a queen, right, but it was incredibly favorable to her people. they got to keep what was known as the 30-mile strip, including the city of Primus. And that city was then evacuated by the Romans. And her people, the Meroites, were they were exempt from paying any tribute or any taxes to the emperor. Now, the Romans continued to occupy another area nearby, which was known as the 12-mile lands, and they used that as a military border zone. But this arrangement that had been struck between Caesar Augustus and why? I just totally lost my tongue. I'm so sorry. Amanirenas. Jesus, sorry about that. But this peace treaty that they had put together, it held until 3rd century AD. So this was a peace that lasted for, 300 years. So that's great. So Amanirenas is known as the one-eyed ruling queen of Nubia, who got the best of the Roman Empire, right? I mean, that sounds like a woman that we want to take a little bit of time and celebrate during Women's History Month. Because that's the other question I have is, why do we have history months, right? I mean, isn't women's history and what women have fought for, the strides that they've made towards, we think about the suffrage movement, we think about just basic equality. Same thing with civil rights. We break this down and we have, Black History Month, and yes, we should absolutely uplift and celebrate peoples of all races and cultures, and because it's not just this history or that history, it's world history. It's the one thing I have against this whole, this I don't know, there's this ambivalence, this weird notion that just world history or regular old American history, everything that's happened in America, right? Like, there's no such thing as critical race theory, right? It's just American history. And if you're unhappy about how America gets portrayed in that story, it's a little late to change it, right? But the importance is that we know what happened, how it happened, why it happened, how we stopped it happening, and how we can keep it from happening again, right? So again, happy Women's History Month, and I wish and hope that at some point we start celebrating all races, all cultures, all genders equally, and not just for 1 month of the year, but throughout the entire year. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining me today on this weekly live episode of Truth Be Told Minuteman Report. Again, I'm your Minuteman, Robert Hensley, and until next time, before I let you go, don't forget new Truth Be Told content Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays at 3 p.m. Pacific. There's me here on Mondays at 3. Wednesdays is Bonnie Burkert with Truth Be Told Transformation. And of course, Tony Sweet on Fridays with the original Truth Be Told. Again, all at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 Eastern. And if you need more information or would like more information, visit us online at www.truthbetoldworldwide.com. Have a good day, everyone. Until next time.